into it. We're going to talk about how we are living in the delusional era. Yep. I all the way said it. Delusional. So, look. The first thing I want to do is I just want to talk about the objective truth. You may or may not have heard that term being thrown around before, and I should have written down a formalized definition, but you could do a simple Google search. Okay, so the objective truth is basically those things that are just generally accepted within society. Things like the sky is blue. Now, let me just say this. When we say the sky is blue, it's backed by science based on how the atmosphere, like how water is refracted and how the atmosphere presents the sky to us. It's based on science, right? Now, you can always find that person who may have some sort of color blindness or something like that to say the sky is not blue, right? And to them, it may not be blue. But generally accepted, the sky is blue, backed by science or whatever. So you have these things called objective truths, such as genders, right? And that's also backed by, well, I'll say sex, because, we have to split hairs now on definitions. But, so I just want to get into that. But, sex is backed by science. But now people are, talking about, there's no such thing as even two sexes, I've heard. And they talk about multiple genders, and it's just getting crazy. But anyway, let's talk about this delusional era. Let's talk about the objective truth. I hate the fact that there's no longer an objective truth, because everybody has their own truth. Speaking my truth. That's what we all say. We're all speaking our own truth, right? Versus the objective truth. So when everybody has their own truth, in my opinion, there's basically no truth. There's no ground truth because everybody has their own interpretation of facts and stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. The data element, the fact that something exists is factual, but even how we interpret that changes. So I'm sure there's someone who's going to come on and they're going to say, yeah, you're just disproving your point. What I am saying is there still is this objective truth. Not everybody's got their own truth. I got to speak my truth. I'm like, oh. We need to stop saying that. We need to speak the truth, not your own truth. Okay? I think what happens is everybody has their own everything. I should have written this down. Was it exegesis? I think is when you're bad. That's how you interpret something. It's the interpretation of events and facts and stuff like that. Look it up. EXEGESIS. Exegesis. Now look. And I'll throw this around. I wasn't even going to say this. We use exegesis, for example, when we're talking about the Bible. So if you're looking at the book of Exodus, Black people are going to view the book of Exodus differently than people who are in white America. We might see the book of Exodus as a metaphor, maybe I should say metaphor, but a story or allegory or something for being led out of bondage, slavery bondage here, chattel slavery. That's a chattel slavery here, right? So when you're looking at something and you're dealing with, and I always butcher this, so for those of you who are much smarter than me, you're talking about exegesis, right? So that's the interpretation, but generally speaking, there's no such thing as an objective truth anymore, which is why everyone is allowed to be delusional. So I'm going to just talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the delusion of people and identity. Like I said, we've got people who are like, I am no gender. You got people who are like, I don't know what gender I am. You got people who are saying, I'm going to flip-flop gender. And then people are like, my gender and my sex are the same. So now there's no objective truth, which means there's no truth in anything because any and everything is true. Just like when you ask what is a woman and people are like anything and everyone could be a woman or something along those lines. So then I'm like, there's no such thing as womanhood, right? Because everything is a woman or nothing can be a woman. So there's no such thing as a woman. I'm going to move on to the next one. We're going to talk about, the blacks, especially the men, downplaying education. It's delusional to think that education is not important. I mean, all you have to do is go ahead and just go look at the data. Okay? At least by 10. By a factor of 10, maybe 12 or something along those lines in terms of people who are educated, earn more, have a higher earning salary or whatever over their lifetime. They earn more in a lifetime. I think it was about like $1 million or something out earn people who are non-educated. Generally speaking, I don't care about your exceptions. And if you have to go ahead and put out the exceptions, all you're doing is basically proving the rule to me. So we're not talking about outliers. We're not talking about edge cases. We're not talking about exceptions. So basically, we've got dum-dums. We've got full-on dum-dums out here talking about how you don't need to get an education. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Dum-dums, I'm going to need you to go get educated. And if you're a woman saying that, you're a dum-dum too. You can get it too. You are a dum-dum. I'm not saying people who don't have education are not valued or valuable or important. What I am saying is typically you will be capped in earning potential when you have not educated yourself. Typically formal education. But again, education isn't just formal, it's informal too. But I am a proponent, advocate for formal education. We have to stop this shenanigans, thinking that we're just going to magically just have these wonderful ideas. There are some people who can do that, but the average person is not like that. So, like, literally, I need the dum-dums to stop it. Stop this delusion of thinking like I don't need an education. And then what you're doing is you're downplaying the education of women, and in particular, black women. I need you to go get educated. We need to stop poisoning our young men with this nonsense. There's beautiful minds out there that are not being stretched and challenged and prodded and poked and massaged to get the best out of them. We will do that with everybody else, but not our black men. Shut up. All right, we're gonna go on to another one. I saw a headline on something today. We're gonna talk about obesity. I'm going to make this clear. You guys can come for me. I am not a doctor, but what I'm going to tell you is this. Generally speaking, obese people, and I'm talking about morbidly obese, are not necessarily the most healthiest. They may not have health problems especially if they're young, but I'm telling you right now, that shiggity is not normal. I'm not saying that these people who are living in an obese body doesn't mean that you're not valuable or loved or can't contribute in society. But what we need to do is stop telling people, yes, girl. No. I mean, I can support the person, but if you're asking me, do you think that this is good for you? I'm like, no. You're making your heart work harder. That is unhealthy. And I don't want anybody having these straw man conversations about, well, not all thin people are healthy either. I'm like, well, I'm not talking about thin people. I'm talking about obese people. When people are out here in these streets, sitting here telling people who are like large and in charge, right? That like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not. I'm not a doctor, but these are my opinions. That's why I'm called the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a B.O.W. My opinions, my thoughts. Okay? Now, this will have people trying to take this and turn this and saying she's a fat phobe or no, I'm not. I'm going to give you an example. Lizzo is outrageously large. That is her choice. I can separate the talent from the bigness, right? Now, me personally, I don't feel like she should be dragged. If she wants to walk around big, that's on her. I don't think it's healthy, but I feel like let her just be big. I wouldn't promote that lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle that I would promote. I need to be paying attention because at some point my exit's going to come up. I would not promote that lifestyle. Because the fact of the matter is, she's going to have health problems if she continues to remain at that size. Real pretty lady, really talented. I mean, but we're going to call a thing a thing. All right? We're going to move on. We're going to talk about some more delusional talking points. We're going to talk about Christianity, how it's only for like white people. Shut up, black people. Shut up. White people don't own Christianity. Christianity came from brown peoples. Go read the Bible. Go look on the map. Go look at the map. All the way look at the map. Okay? And so, first of all, Christianity is for all people. It's just that the brand of Christianity, oftentimes that you're going to get, is going to have a white lens depending on where you're getting that Christianity from. That's why you need to go to places where you get some form of the truth, I guess. But I'm just tired of people walking around like, you're believing in that white man's religion. I'm like, shut up, you sound so dumb. Just as dumb as the people who were really concerned about the vaccination. That's probably a flag word. There were people who were literally out there talking about, I can't believe you're putting that in your body, and the delusion of it all. I'm like, you will literally go take your medication and eat those pills like they're Tic Tacs. But they're like, you don't know what's in that vaccine. I'm like, you literally don't even know what's in your medication. Because if you knew that a lot of these pharmaceutical reps, it's basically, they're pushing whatever, I'm just going to say solution, because I don't even know what words I can say. And the doctors is basically like, who's the highest bidder or whatever. It may not necessarily be the best solution. Not only that, black people typically don't even participate in clinical trials so that they can actually hone whatever solution is in that medication. But the dumb black people will go out here in these streets and talk about things like that. The delusion of it all. I'm like, you literally will trust the pills that you're gobbling down, your Tic Tacs, but you won't trust that. So there's all kinds of stuff. Now, if you choose not to take it, that's fine. But I just hate the talking points around it. I'm like I said in I think my live yesterday, I'm like, literally, you will go sign up to be in the military and let them shoot you up with all kinds of stuff. You don't know what's in all of those vaccines, but you're literally talking about a vaccine when there's a black woman who actually revolutionized how we derive vaccines. Let's move on. We're going to move on to some more delusion. We're going to talk about why the blackity blacks seem to be, I think they're just hiding from their blackness. They think, I'm going to pick on the entertainers and the sports people for a second. They think if they find somebody that doesn't look like them, they're going to breed out the blackness. Or that if they have proximity to something other than black people. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, newsflash, you're still exactly who you are. Everywhere you go, there you are. I learned that from my mother. You take yourself everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. So I find it like delusional that you think like you're just going to breed the blackness out of them, because the fact of the matter is the person that you're with, if they are not a relatively learned or aware person, are not going to raise that child in the way that they should be made aware of who they are. So I don't know. I just think that the people who are running away from their blackness, I honestly think that they think by having other children that it's going to help. I'm like, but you are still a blackity black, and you've passed along your blackity blackness. Now, that's not to say that interracial relationships are bad, because I don't really think they're bad at all. I really, really don't. Because let me tell you something, there are some wonderful people out here in these streets that don't look like you. Okay, you might be a white or black, whatever it is. Like I say, like if it's built on a solid foundation of love and respect and awareness of everyone's culture, and you are aware that there may be some internal bias, subconscious bias, I say move forward. I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't feel like that should be a taboo thing. I just think the way it's being done is what makes it sound so unpalatable. The negative conversation, it's just all the negative stuff that comes with it. This is the last thing I'm going to say, then I'm going to get off of this. Blackity blacks. Now, I know I touched on this yesterday. I'm just going to touch on it again today. You are delusional if you think that our crazy music, the way we behave, I think just our overall Ave, even though Ave isn't necessarily bad, but some of the things that we say, if you don't think it is contributing to our degenerate culture, then you're just as delusional as all the other dum-dums. We're the only culture that likes to go out there and say these things and do these things, and they say, no, it's not that. I'm like, yes, it is. It really, really is. We literally think it's okay to be like, babe, what's going on? Or dudes refer to women as bees and baby daddies and baby mamas. We literally talk to each other like a piece of crap. We've got people out here in these streets who think it's okay to rap and sing about weaponry, violence, And then we say art imitates life. Stop it. Your life isn't all that. We need to create some other parts of life then. We need to talk about something else. But we need to stop talking about the stuff we're doing now, because what happens is we're out here, we're really our own cancer from within. We're doing it to ourselves. So look, go ahead and like it. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think are other things that we are delusional about? Because I know we have a lot of delusion in the whole community. And people who don't think they're delusional are delusional, except for me, because I'm perfect in every way and can do no wrong. But yeah, our music, even some of our Ave, for those of you who don't know what Ave is, African American Vernacular English, previously known as Ebonics. So, yeah, I mean, these are just my both thoughts. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's mad about something, because y'all stay mad. You stay mad. So, look, you can stay mad all you want, but just go ahead and subscribe. Okay. That's it. I don't know. What else? I mean, what else should I be talking about? The things I want to talk about, people don't want to listen to. They just, because what you really want me to talk about is all pop news stuff or stupid manosphere and women-hating talking points. And I don't really feel like talking about that kind of stuff all the time. The things I want to talk about, people aren't even interested in. If I were to talk about the things I wanted to talk about, you'd be like, next. Kind of like what you guys do now. So, I don't know. But let me know what your thoughts are.